when there are times of great conversion to Jesus, there's a great opposition that's waged against the disciples of Jesus. Why the opposition? Because the faith of the people is a threat to the power and the wealth and the comfort of the ruling class, the nations who rage in vain against the Lord and against his Messiah. Again, Jesus during his lifetime ignited a fire of opposition that has never been quenched. Sometimes it burns hotter, sometimes the flame barely flickers as that hatred simply smolders. But in seasons where the gospel advances, the fires of persecution rage hot, as we are seeing here. What this leaves then the church in the church is a dilemma. If we stagnate, if we just sort of retreat in ourselves, really the world often doesn't care too much. The world has many more important things to do than to bother too much with the kinds of things that we do on a Sunday morning, with baptizing, with preaching, with reading God's word, with receiving the Lord's Supper. They don't care so much about that, except when it threatens them. And when the gospel more visibly begins to threaten the world, as the gospel grows and advances, well, that's when the fires of persecution begin to kindle and rage hotter against the church. Now, seen that way, we might think, well, the logical thing is just to hunker down, just to be quiet, just to keep this as a nice little private gathering that we have among friends, and just pretend like none of this really matters in the wider world. But that's not the approach of the early church, and it cannot be our approach either. Why? Because of the second point, that there is no salvation outside of Christ.